He was talking about...
Say Cthulhu is easy in terms of mechanics. What I find hard to do in Cthulhu is adapt things when money plays a role in the game.
Money.
For example, it's quite hard for a keeper to make character work within a budget, which is something I've tried before. This is something...
I personally like the fact that they've just kind of taken money out of Call of Cthulhu. Right, you have a daily spending limit as long as what you buy doesn't exceed $10 because you got a credit rating of 30 or whatever it is. You can buy all you want, and you have this many assets. But it's not about going, finding gold, amassing wealth, and then and buying those things. So they just gave it bare bones stuff. And I think if you're tripping up over whether or not your players can afford to go get a shotgun before going on that adventure, let it go. Rule of cool, right?
Really cool.
It's kind of like one house rule I didn't bring up is that you never made us bother with encumbrance.
Or buying arrows. I never make anybody buy arrows. I'm like, just got them. Man.
First thing, we get a bag of holding. I think money in Cthulhu should be worked pretty similarly because unless you are very high or very low, it probably wouldn't come into play all that much.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just hard to rewire my brain away from, well, how much does it cost and like cost management. And I have found that's probably the only thing I struggle with in Cthulhu is understanding how many assets I have, how much I have in assets and how much I get per day. And trying to try not to function on that because my little goblin brain wants to be like, well, do I have enough money to buy a shotgun? And I really try not to. And that's why when I keep for y'all and John's like, well, would I have this? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, you got it. I don't care. Because I'm trying to not focus on it. But it is hard for me as a player when I'm buying something to be like, can I afford that?
And I think it just gets back to your other point about, which game am I playing? Where am I being? Right. It's just, there's different mindsets for different games. But John, you brought up the ammo, so I just want to put one last point on house rules. That when it was one of my games we decided to not track ammo. And it was just like, okay, what we're going to do is, I forget whether it was every session or every time you're in town, everybody pay me a gold piece.
And you're good. You never have to think about it.
And you've got your arrows, darts, or whatever.
That was a fantastic one because Well,
you eventually just dropped the gold piece altogether.
It started when I had a halfling bard that had a bandolier where she could throw 2 darts. And I was like, bro, I can't keep track of how many fucking darts I get. You're like, look, just every time you're in town or every session, a gold piece. I was like, thank you.
And that
was a great house rule.
It was.
I love that one. Anything to not have to bog down in the petty mechanics, encumbrance, and ammo. Like, I don't want to deal with that shit. I want to fight shit. I want to be epic.
Brape.
Huh?
Brape?
Yeah. We're already in the Brape.
Yeah, we're already in the
Brape.
Really?
Well, I've been sitting here not doing this because I felt like we were still doing
it. No, we're already in the Brape. Is that what we're going to call it now, the Brape?
Sure.
I like it.
Break for vape.
Jove also said, generally speaking, Cthulhu is kind of hard to reward your players in comparison to other systems.
The reward is survival.
The reward is survival.
But I agree.
There are tomes and things a person can find that will give them either spells or
we have just knowledge. Scratched the surface on that, and I'm looking forward to getting more into it. But even by the by the rules, you do a pre-made scenario. The rewards at the end are
sanity.
Here's a chance to get some sanity back. Here's a chance to get some luck back. So it's really, you're not making you any better off than you were before. It's just trying to get closer to being what you were before you started.
Yeah. I do wish that, I like rolling to see if I improve my skills, but it's so disappointing, and it's happened to me multiple times where I don't get to improve anything. And that is really disappointing.
Oh, since we're on a Brape, I've got this idea for a house rule.
Okay, bring it on.
And it mostly applies to Call of Cthulhu, but I think I could get it somewhere else. You're making a sanity roll. If you roll a 42, you always fail. Because 42 is the answer to God, the universe, and everything. So if you rolled a 42, you understood exactly what was happening.
You peered into the
cosmos. That what is not possible actually is possible.
I like it.
Yeah.
If you switch out the 100 for the 42.
Make the 42 the critical fumble.
That's it. That's how it balances. I like it.
Good job.
Perfect.
I
love it.
That's a trademark percentile vice. If you use that in your game, please send us your royalty checks to percentile vice at percentilevice.percentilevice.
Mm-hmm. Because all those things are totally real.
But I didn't feel like when we were playing Call of Cthulhu that we weren't getting rewarded because you were fairly liberal compared to what I'm seeing out there.
Yes.
As far as letting us do character advancement.
But it's also in Cthulhu, I'm not necessarily striving for character advancement. I think that's the difference, is that I don't feel the need to be rewarded because I'm not striving for character advancement.
I like character.
I like it. I like it in D&D. I love leveling up. I love it. I love getting to min-max and make all my shit work great and have all these new features and really just screw with the DM and find all these ways that they can't kill me and not play by the rules. I love it. But in Call of Cthulhu, that's not my aim.
You know what we could do? Here's a house rule, because I felt some of the same disappointment, right? You successfully used your history check, and then you roll to see if you can improve it, and you roll under your history. Like, yeah, man, I don't get any more. Well, you know, like some of the sanity rolls, you make a sanity check. If you fail it, it's 1d6 of sanity, but if you make it, it's still a 1d2.
Like you still get 1%.
So you could do, like, if you're going to do skill advancement, that if you fail the roll, you still get a 1d2, you know, or just a flat 2, increase it by 2.
I think to keep it within the theme, instead of having one check off every time you do it, because there have been times where spot hidden, we will have 10 checks.
And each extra check gives you a bonus die or separate rolls.
Or like the first one gives you a roll, the fifth one gives you a bonus die, and then maybe have some kind of interval system with it. Because if you do it 10 times, rolling 10 dice, you're sure to get it. You do want to have a little chance to fail.
Right, and there is the point that the better you get in a skill, the harder it is to advance. Right?
Yeah.
So if I've got an 80% spot hidden, I've only got a 20% chance of ever getting better on that. So we got to be careful about.
You don't want them rolling 10 dice necessarily.
Right. So we got to, but I like where you're going with this.
There's some way to balance that out. And I do think, like, if I use spot hidden 10 times, if that means that I get 1 or 2 extra bonus dice, that is fair because I have used that skill multiple times. And the whole point is that the more you use it, the better you're going to get with it. So if I used it a lot.
That's what I really find rewarding about the system, that you end up with a character that looks like how you play.
I love that the character develops the way you play. If I constantly hit library use, like with Alice Green, she constantly hits library use.
I need to now go back and check the rules. If you use a skill that you're not trained in, but it's got a base, you know,
5%.
like climbing, is
Like a cult.
10%, and you successfully use that, do we level up in that? Do we?
I'm 90% sure that's a yes.
Me too. Well, 90% sure. Roll me a percent on that. Let's see if you're succeeding.
I'd rather just open the book and look before we did all that.
Yeah.